Hey, good morning. It's Wednesday, July 31st. My goodness, how the year screams by us. I am Rob, the developer dad, and we're building an application to help me at the gaming table when my players say, "So, what's the blacksmith's name?" And we're making steady progress on it. Yesterday, I struggled a little bit with getting a spinner or some sort of indication that things are working. But I did eventually, after stream, I spent a little bit of time um, redoing what I had done from the online guide that I had found. And let's go ahead and generate a description for this just to show you how it looks. So as it's working, we see that it is loading. I think I want to try and customize that a little bit. But we can see that it's received the prompt. Here we go. And it's working. The description, or the AI, is still receiving the metric units. And I think I want to switch this up a little bit so that it's using the American or imperial units that we're mostly used to. Even my friends back in Canada still use feet and inches and pounds for height and weight. So I want to swap that around. The reason I use metric is because it's easier to express as an integer than some kind of feet and inches kind of thing. So here we go. Alan Silvershade stands at 180 centimeters, 6 feet tall, well-built physique, weighing around 50 kilograms. Wow, he's skinny. 6 feet tall and 110 pounds. Light brown complexion, accentuated by his striking silver wavy hair. He possesses an elegant grace and nimbleness that complements his robust figure. That's not a robust figure. All right. Introverted yet resourceful. Prefers the solitude of nature to crowded gatherings. His practicality is evident in every choice he makes, with a hint of melancholy. Written by your name. That's a little odd. But whatever. So, since we're dealing with the AI right now, I think there's a couple of things I want to do to improve this a little bit more before we pivot back to getting the choices integrated here. So first off, I think I want to start streaming the response back, but maybe not. Or maybe. Yeah, perhaps I will. So let's think about what I want to do here. I think first off, I want to break up this AI generated description into a set of independent text properties on the NPC object itself. So let's go ahead and think through what we want to do for that. And I'm just going to think through this in the code area. And yesterday I said that I would explain what I had to do to get that loading thing to behave itself for us. So essentially, what I ended up doing is going right back to the drawing board and that write up, and I pulled the component that shows the loading message out of the main Blazor client application and into a Razor class library called gametools.ui.components. And I had to add something in to the main layout. I had to add the weight wrapper down here instead of at the actual component level on the NPC generator page. And there goes my Wi-Fi connection to my Windows laptop. This will just take a second, I hope. Hopefully Windows didn't decide, hey, I have updates, I'm going to install them, because that would really torch my productivity this morning. I was trying to reconnect. Here we go. It's coming. And it's back. Okay, so I had to push the weight wrapper component all the way down into the main layout page, because that apparently is where the code for the renderer lives. I haven't tried moving it from here back up into my NPC generator. I also extracted all of the C# stuff that was in the @code tag at the bottom of the NPC generator Razor file out into a plain C# class where I have the actual implementations of my code behind. So it's now much more similar to that old code behind concept that we used to have with ASP web forms. And I think this is actually a little bit easier to work with because it fully separates out our logic from our UI information. So I'm just going to do a little bit of code tidy up here. I had that "don't ever do this" line there where I was basically just catching and throwing an exception. If you're not doing anything with the exception when you're catching it, don't catch it. You're just messing. You're just making your code messier. If you want to do some logging or some logic to try and fix what happened in the exception, then yes, you do want to catch those. But for the most part, don't. Like if you're just going to rethrow it, don't even catch it. Let it fall through. I can also get rid of this fake task. Goodbye. Now, something that you'll notice here on this class and the outer component is that I'm not implementing an interface here because the behavior provided by this class is intimately tied to the NPC generator markup area. And I'm tidying up formatting and stuff like that as we talk through it. And because of that, like I don't see a need to do any kind of dependency injection or anything like that for the NPC generator Razor, because it directly inherits a concrete class rather than composing itself from a number of other smaller logical pieces. So thinking about the way that data is coming back from the AI. Right now it's just coming back as a big honking blob of text. And I think what I'd like to do is add some new properties. And let's go public string NPC name. Now, I was originally going to do this from lists of possible name parts, and I may still go there, but for now, I want to do a get and a private set. And when we initialize NPC name equals string.empty. Yeah. And do I want to track whether the name is AI generated or not? I don't think so. And in that case, I just make it a public get and set for now. If we have to change it later, we will. Now, let's add some public string. Okay, we've already got text description. I'm going to change this to no. How do I want to do this? We're going to be using a pattern where we've got certain string valued properties where we've got a text property, a Boolean to identify whether that property was created by AI or not, and methods by which we would set that AI description or set the user edited description. So, well, it looks like I'm losing my connection. Oh, no, it's back. I'm reminded of that Simpsons thing. I think my heart stopped. Oh, there it goes. All right, so we're going to have certain attributes on our NPC that are AI generated. And they're all going to look approximately the same. So what that tells me is we want to encapsulate that into a class. And for that, I'm going to add something to my services. And it's just going to be a class. And it's going to be AI driven property. I'm just going to change it to generated property. Generated property. Now, generated property is going to have prop and string. Yeah. Value. Also going to have prop bool is AI generated with that private set. Oh, dang, blast it. We're gonna have a public void set AI description, set AI value, string value, value equals value, is AI generated equals true, and you know what, heck with it, public void apply user edit string value. Let's just go ahead and add that here. And value equals value is AI generated equals false. Save. And we're going to pop up here. And ctor. I'm going to add a ctor dot with a string value. And value equals value. Lost my train of thought for a second. This string dot empty. Let's go ahead, bool is AI generated equals false. Okay. All right. And then we're going to probably end up with some custom serialization. If we need it, I'm not going to worry about it right now. If I have to do some funny business around how properties that are of this type are serialized, then I will do so at that point. However, what I am going to do is do a public override string to string base, or not base, but string this as string equals no string AI tag equals is AI generated. Wakey, wakey. Okay, so if is AI generated is true, we're going to preface whatever comes out of this toString with AI in parentheses with a colon and then the value. because I believe in transparency. Is a nope AI tag, and then value. Save. And finally, we need to return this as string. And save it. Okay. Good, good, good. So let's come back out to our view model. Do I want this on the view model? You know what? I don't. This needs to be out in our game tools framework. We're going to stuff it into the concepts folder. So I'm going to come down here to services, grab generated property. Come on, scooch up you get, drop it into the concepts. And then, is there a sync namespaces? Not here, but there is here. And what sync namespaces does, before I do this, hold up one step at a time, Rob. We're going to get rid of generated property. Yeah, we're going to get rid of generated property here. Goodbye. See you later. Now I'm going to look up here. I'm going to reopen it here, and we'll see that our namespace still says gametools.blazorclient.services because we just literally moved the file from one location to our Game Tools framework. Now, sync namespaces is a super handy feature that exists in Visual Studio. Character appearance, it does all the things. And let's apply it. Bam. And we see that our generator property now exists within the Game Tools framework concepts. And copy. And I want to add some comments about this. Use this class to express a property on an object that can be a property whose value can be generated by an LLM. There we go. Now, come back over to display NPC view model, and instead of public string NPC name, we're going to make it a generated property. And we're going to need to import our framework here. And instead of setting NPC name to null, equals new generated property. And I want to do the exact same thing with public generated property, personality, description, get set, and we can get rid of, or we will be able to get rid of these values here, but I also want to add up here in our framework, character appearance, description is going to become, where is it referenced? Just there? Okay. Description is going to become a generated property. And instead of setting it to a string.empty equals new generated property. All right. I want to come into background. Description here is going to become a generated property. I'm going to do the same modification up here. Generated property. And vocation also has a description. New generated property. Generated property. Save all of that stuff. Now, our NPC view model, instead of public generated property, NPC name, instead of assigning those here, now I can just go string, NPC name, and instead of having gets and sets, we can just lambda our way in dot, I didn't set that on the NPC class. I have to come up to townsperson. Go to definition. So right now we've got given name, family name. We may or may not do that eventually. For now, I'm just going to say generated property. Get private set. Oh, come on, Rob. Save that. Full name equals new generated property. Save it. Excuse me. Okay. So how do we use all of this stuff? Well, first I got to close down all of these things that we built up. Close townsperson, invocation, NPC name is not a new generated property. I have to go back and fix that here before I go much further. Here we go, NPC dot full name. Dot to string. Great. I wonder if there's a way I'm going to make a little note to myself. This is more a .NET C# look into if this is possible thing. But let's add a new note. Things to look into. Is it possible to have a type behave like a property? For example, I have a generated, what did I call it? Generated property? Yeah. Generated property class. And it does override toString, but I'd like to see if I can just reference the name of the variable that holds that type instance and get the string back. That'd be super, super convenient. I'm going to look into that when I have time. It's way outside the scope of what I'm trying to do right now. So, text description is AI. These methods are marked for deletion. In fact, this commented out method that I did add to the generated property class, that can go bye-bye. These will go bye-bye very, very soon. So personality description, we're good there. And yeah. Okay, I do need to instantiate personality description equals new generated property. All right. What else is it complaining about? Text description. All right, fine. What do I have as text description down here? It's just a string. Okay. Let's set it now just to make the compiler happy. Okay, good. Good. And we're eventually going to need to move personality description up into townsperson. As a matter of fact, we should probably just do that now. Yeah. Go to definition, townsperson, personality nature, personality demeanor. We'll get to doing those. I want to add public generated property, personality description, get private set, good, and we'll just up screen here, personality description equals new generated property. There we go. And I can come back out to my view model, pop down the bottom. Where is personality description? String, rocket ship, NPC dot personality, not demeanor, description, dot to string. Boop. All right. We should still be runnable, although I do have an error somewhere. not be assigned to. It is read only. What are you talking about? Oh, duh. I added it on the townsfolk. There we go. All right, now this should still all run because we're not actually manipulating any of those generated properties yet. NPC, very good. And we should be able to generate the AI description. I just want to watch it run. Blah, blah, blah. Do the things. Run, 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 my little LLM. I'm not in love with the way it's constructing names. Or my Wi-Fi drops connection to the laptop. That's a funny thing. I know I've got a 10-port switch around here somewhere, and I should be able to connect this this old laptop to an Ethernet, like a wired Ethernet connection to maybe mitigate some of this nonsense. But then I got to find some Ethernet cables, and I think I have a couple kicking around, but just digging around the house to find them is a drag, but not nearly as much of a drag as this is. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is just making sure it's going to continue to behave itself while it works. It says it's configuring the remote PC. That's not a good sign. I might need to restart the connection. Let me do that. There's that. Yep, continue. Here it is. There's that Simpsons episode again. Okay, so it did a whole bunch of stuff, but I feel like it just kind of crapped out on me. For some reason or another, yeah, it didn't exceed the total tokens, but it did stop here. It feels like it just kind of farted out on me, which it does from time to time. I'm going to try and regen it just to see what's going on here. Now, an issue with hosting LLMs locally, and I want to talk about this for a second. It's great for testing and prototyping and so on, but don't try to run a locally hosted LLM server on premise using something like local LM, or I think Olama is still single threaded. All of these things are they're only single threaded, and they can only satisfy one request at a time. So if you've got multiple people all hitting your local language model at the same time, you're gonna get a traffic jam. All right, Era the Enlightened Halfling Jeweler blah, 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 blah. Here's all the stuff. Good. All right. So we need to be able to access those chunks as properties so that we can assign them to those new generated property constructs that we created. So the first thing we're going to do is go to the API, or the next thing we're going to do is go to the API. And we've got our AI workloads up in here, our character generation functions. There's register character generation functions, describe NPC, build function describe NPC. Given a JSON string containing seed data, yeah. Okay. Now, something I do want to iterate on first that's a whole lot easier to do. We're going to come down to NPC View Model Manager. I don't want to pass the raw JSON that comes back from the random generator. I want to pass the JSON of my view model. So we're going to go into Get AI Description. Go to Definition. Come on. Oh, that's passing the... Okay, it's passing the NPC. Good. And then we go to Character Worker, Describe NPC, and we pass the NPC model. And we're going to get back a string. So let's go to the implementation of this. And this is Game Tools API Workload Provider, AI Workloads. First thing we're going to do is add a new class to AI Workloads. Yes. Yes? Yes. And we're going to add character generated character properties. We're going to make it public. What we're going to do is public generated property name get private set public generated property personality get private set public generated property history and get stop public generated property current circumstances get private set. And we need a constructor. Will it just go ahead and do this stuff for me? Fix formatting. No, it's not gonna. Name equals new generated property. Now, there's a method to my madness here. What did I call that last one? Current circumstances. So I don't want to pass back JSON to the UI stuff and have the UI responsible for parsing that JSON or the JSON properties out. So what I want to do is construct one of these guys, and this is going to be the return type. So down here we're going to do task string, describe NPC, task of generated character properties. And we have to reference that namespace. Good. Generate attributes. String NPC JSON. Calls the LLM providing the NPC attributes that have already been selected either randomly or by the user, generates those, generates the values for the properties identified in the generated character properties class. And save. Pardon me. So we can get rid of character vocation again. Charge end functions. We're going to come up in here. And I got distracted by, oh yes, that's right. So now by adding this, I've got to update my character workloads. Come over to the interface, grab this, copy, come down to the implementation. That's doing a whole bunch of crazy stuff. As is all this stuff. And I am going to public async paste. And we're going to have to do some of the same things, but not all of the same things. We're still going to use the same function name. And we're still going to have to create our function arguments. And we're going to need to execute the function. So copy this. Come down here. All right. Now, AI function describe NPC. I am actually going to define a new character generation function. It's going to be almost the same, but not quite. So, public const string AI function underscore generate attributes, NPC attributes, equals generate NPC. This function will become deprecated soon. You know what? Let's make it official. Private static. Whoa, I mistyped something. Static AI function definition. Build function underscore gen NPC attributes. Now, what's the signature on that look like? Okay, looks pretty much like what we were expecting it to. So, we're going to need to give it a name and a description and a prompt template. All of this stuff is going to be very boilerplate. So, I'm going to go ahead and just copy, paste, and gosh, I bet I could turn this stuff into a simple database table, couldn't I? I've done it before on other projects. I just don't want to take the time to do that. Generates a text description of the character? No. It will generates a set of attributes, including name, appearance, personality, background, etc. And returns them in a JSON string. You are a helpful assistant to a busy game master. Please use the seed attributes that are provided in the JSON string to create to define a set of attributes to generate a set of attributes of a new character for a fantasy setting. These attribute values will be returned in a new JSON string that will be defined. each attribute should be generated attribute value must be assigned to a named property in a different JSON string. Seed attributes. Output schema. Different JSON string defined in the output schema. And I'm going to grab this, copy it, paste it, and all I'm going to do is name. Oh, gonna have to do it this way, using single quotes. The name of the character will go here, comma. Personality. Personality will go here. Appearance. The appearance will go here. And we're going to need to iterate on this. What other attributes did I broker out? I'm going to go to, is it in managers? I believe it is. Townsfolk, or townsperson. All right, so personality description, cool. Full name, yep. Personality description, and then let's pop this into a vertical document here, and we'll hide this. And I actually need to wrap up for the morning in just a minute. But name, personality, appearance. Current circumstances. Go here, comma. Oh, I've got a double thing here. Background goes here. There we go. I'm going to add some more instructions to this prompt template in the afternoon session. I want to kind of rein in the wordiness that we've seen so far. And I'm probably going to provide explicit instructions for each of these attributes that I want to generate. And this is getting into some prompt engineering stuff, which can be a lot of fun. I haven't dug too far into it as far as a possible profession pivot or anything like that, because I have a feeling that within the next 2 to 3 years, AIs are going to be able to, these large language models are going to be able to tell us how best to structure the prompts to get the results we want. And it's just going to toss this whole concept of prompt engineering out the window. But for now, it's a useful skill to have. As AIs as large language models advance and they become more capable at more broad use cases, it's possible that prompt engineering could become as common a skill as being able to write a SQL query. I'm a little skeptical about that claim at this point, but I have found utility for it in my day-to-day work when I was working full-time and everything like that. So it's something that I'm grinding on a little bit here and there as I have an opportunity. So until this afternoon, I wish you good day, and I'll be back in a couple hours here, and we'll continue with this prompt templating, and we'll see if we can get some usable values back to assign to those more fine-grained properties. So until then, take care of yourselves, drink some water, touch some grass, eat some food. These are mostly reminders for myself because I never remember to do any of those things. And I will see you all later. Thanks for joining. Take care.